This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather, ho there, it's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe Birthday Boy. And the birthday boy for today, for October 16th, is a former #1 draft pick of the NHL, winning the Calder Cup in the American Hockey League and an NCAA Hockey Championship before joining the NHL. He was supposed to be great as a #1 draft pick, but problems with the team led him to a team that he actually won a Stanley Cup with and spent many years with other teams. Unfortunately, right now he is living through a terrible post-career life, but we'll touch on that later. Anyway, his name is Joe Murphy, who's 56 years old. Joe Murphy was a decent player who went to the NCAA to play for Michigan State. And Detroit liked him so much they decided to draft him first overall in the '86 draft. It was huge, all that. Murphy could not develop his game with the Red Wings because Steve Yzerman and Adam Oates were ahead of him in Detroit. Oh yeah, that's right, Adam Oates was in Detroit. Murphy would go to Adirondack in New York State to play for the American Hockey League team. He would actually play 50 games for the Red Wings, but then moved to right wing so that he could be on the roster, if you will. He put up 10 goals in his second year. But he did help Adirondack win the Calder Cup, which is the AHL championship, so it looked pretty good for him. The next season, Murphy scored 3 goals in 9 games, but then there was a massive trade, sending him, Kevin McClellan, and Jimmy Carson from Detroit to Detroit, sending Joe Murphy, Adam Graves, Peter Klima, and Jeff Sharples to Edmonton. That was a huge trade for the Red Wings. Jimmy Carson actually did not like Northern Alberta. Of course, Carson was a Kings prospect that went to Edmonton in the Wayne Gretzky trade, and then he didn't like Edmonton, so he forced a trade. Added to the fact that Murphy was having behavior issues in Detroit, and Peter Kleba as well. That's what led those two to be traded to Edmonton. Murphy would join an up-and-coming core, and he would only score 25 points in 62 games. However, in the playoffs, it was a whole different game. John Muckler put Murphy with Adam Graves, who he was traded with, to Edmonton, and Martin Jelena. Yeah, Jelena was playing back then, on a line called the Kid Line, because Murphy and Graves were 21, Jelena was 19. And for some strange reason, the Kid Line helped out. Of course, he had Messier and Curry and Glenn Anderson too. But he put up 14 points, in 22 playoff games. It was huge, There were timely goals, and Joe Murphy won the Stanley Cup with Edmonton. Metro Detroit regretted that move. He would score 27 goals in the '91 season and then put up 35 goals the next season. Murphy put up 24 points in 16 games to help Edmonton in the '92 playoffs get to the conference finals. Unfortunately for Murphy, Chicago swept them in the playoffs. He was fourth in postseason scoring despite the fact that he wasn't in the final. It was at the right time for Murphy. Murphy tried to work out a new deal, but they were too far apart. Murphy held out and would go to the Colonial Hockey League. The Edmonton Oilers didn't trade Murphy till February '93 when he went to Chicago and given a 3-year contract. He put up 17 points and was hoping to help the Blackhawks out in the playoffs. Unfortunately, the '93 playoffs was one to forget for Chicago as they got swept by the Blues. In his first full season, he put up 31 goals. And it looked good for him. He led the Hawks in goals in the shortened NHL season '95, scoring 23 goals. And then scored 26 in '96. So he looked decent and all that. Of course, his scoring went downhill a little bit, and since Amante and Daze were looking good for Chicago, the Hawks didn't extend his contract. So he signed a 3-year deal to join St. Louis. He had lofty expectations, but it didn't work out. After struggling in the first few games of the next campaign, the Blues traded him to San Jose for Todd Gill. But the Blues had to send cash to San Jose because of Murphy's contract. Murphy did help San Jose out decently. He went to free agency, but no one took him. Murphy was without a team, and then he managed to land a tryout with the New York Rangers. The good news was because the Rangers GM Neil Smith was the GM of Adirondack, where Murphy played for the club in the AHL. Unfortunately, after beginning his tryout with the Rangers, he actually signed a contract with the Bruins. The Rangers felt spurned and all that. And Murphy made accusations that his sticks were actually sawed in half. But unfortunately, in Boston, he didn't do as well. 26 games, and he was suspended for screaming at Pat Burns. Murphy did not really have a good locker room rapport. The Bruins put him on waivers, and then Washington claimed him. Murphy was given a short leash. Murphy was told, if you cause any issues, you're gone. And he played 43 games in 2 years. Unfortunately, Murphy was involved in an altercation in New York. He was struck in the head with a bottle. Unfortunately, some kind of issue. So Washington assigned Murphy to their AHL affiliate. And Murphy refused to report and was basically dumped off. Murphy tried and failed to file for workers' comp because of his injury. So anyway, it was found out that because Murphy was in New York for work reasons, and the dinner was a team event. Yeah, dinner was a team event, which is fine, but the bar Murphy went to had nothing to do with his employment. If it did, then he would have won the case. Then he went to Ontario to join Alliston to be a coach and GM. Unfortunately, there was a allegation in Tecumseh. Murphy, by 2017, was living in Costa Rica and was on the streets, but was deported back to Canada, probably for his own safety. Murphy would open up in July 2018 in a Kenora radio station talking about struggles with post-concussion syndrome, which he suffered in 1992. So, despite earning $15 million, he was homeless and destitute in Kenora. Murphy actually elaborated in a SportsCenter feature that aired August 2018. But he was still homeless in Kenora, the Detroit Free Press reported. And his situation was caused by multiple concussions, symptoms of frequent headaches, mood swings, and personality changes. And then, took drugs and alcohol. So anyway, yeah, he's living through a lot of things. And Murphy completed treatment in Thunder Bay. But he was once again homeless in Kenora and refusing help. By 2020, he actually moved to Regina and living on the streets there. Which is like, wow, that's just shocking. Anyway, Joe Murphy, in 779 NHL games, has put up 233 goals with 528 points. And in the playoffs, 77 points in 120 games, including a couple of great stretches. But, Nothing happened. He did win an NCAA title with Michigan State in '86, the AHL title in '89 with Adirondack, and NHL title in 1990 with Edmonton. So he's got three titles, but unfortunately that means nothing because he's out on the streets as of right now, and hopefully he's getting the help he deserves. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.